From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 206 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. We're recording today, Saturday, November the 16th, 2024. I'm Warren.
I'm John.
I'm Karin.
And it's Sally.
Welcome to episode 206. Coming up in this episode, we have Android Basics, where we talk about Android 15 QPR2 Beta 1. Then we talk about the Spotlight, where the TalkBack 15.1 is the Spotlight. In our app of the week, we talk about an app called Startpage. And John closes this episode with a highlight from TalkBack in the way of how to activate links. That's what we have in this episode. John, let's begin with you, my man. Is it kind of cloudy out there, rainy? What's going on?
It is rainy. I actually finally got around to raking my yard just before the rain. So, as you know, it's much easier to rake the dry leaves. So I did it just in time. But yeah, it's finally staying cool around here. It hasn't gotten higher than 75 in the last couple of weeks. So I'm happy about that.
That's really nice. It's just wet everywhere. Karin girl, what's going on? Is it wet out there, or are you guys kind of dry?
Nope, actually we're expecting rain tomorrow. It should be tomorrow evening. We're expecting some rain. Currently, it's slightly cold, not so much, but I can say that it's the weather of November, typical November weather. So yeah, it's cool, I think.
It's a beautiful thing. Sally, what's going on?
I'm doing well. It's raining here. It's like 46. It's raining since early morning. It starts, then stops, and it starts again. I think it's going to be for the whole weekend. So yeah, that's how it is over here.
Well, at my end, we are currently sitting at 29. We may have a few scattered showers later on today, but I think it's going to push up to like 41 degrees today. So it's kind of somewhere in there. It's that time of year, like Karin says, it's November. Feels kind of chilly out there, 29 degrees. And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics. Let's now turn on to the Android Basics. And today we're talking about Android 15 QPR2 Beta 1 that dropped, I think that was on the 12th, I believe so. John, did you install it on your Pixel 9? Are you enrolled, or you didn't enroll your Pixel?
No, I haven't enrolled it. I just have the one Pixel right now, and I'm keeping it stable for the time being.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I didn't bother to install it on any of mine, but last night I just did so just for giggles. And of course, that thing was huge, and I know the reason why, probably like we were saying earlier, but mine came in at almost 2.7 gigs, 2.69 gigs on my Pixel 7. I haven't tried it on any other one, but so there are some few changes, right, John? There's a new kernel now, right? For people who know how to do things in Linux, you can do terminal commands and things like that after you go into the developer mode and enable that thing where you could do some Linuxy kind of things, right?
Yeah, there's it doesn't seem to be working just yet, but it's there. So I'm assuming they're going to plan on adding it in the same way that you can already do this on a Chromebook. Or in Chrome OS, I should say. So yeah, it just gives you the option to turn on a developer setting that will add a Linux command line to your apps list, and then you can go use it. You can. I'm assuming, obviously, like I said, it's not working yet, but I'm assuming you'd be able to install things from the command line and run apps from the command line. I'm assuming you'd you'd have to have a mouse and keyboard connected to get them to work correctly. But yeah, because after all, Android is based on Linux, and like you mentioned earlier about the update size, the reason the updates are going to be larger for the Pixel 6, 7, and 8 series is because they are updating the kernel to a much more recent Linux kernel. So that's why those installs are going to be a lot larger. I'm assuming, like I mentioned earlier, I haven't tried it, but I'm assuming because the Pixel 9 series is so new, they already have a more up-to-date kernel.
You know, talking about that keyboard, there's something in there that talks about the fact that you can simulate the mouse using your keyboard too. So there's a huge improvement in the keyboard as well. And like you said, some of these things are not currently active, especially that one we just talked about. And we need to keep in mind that this is something that's going to be coming like in March as a feature drop on Pixel devices. And my thinking is that this is something we'll be seeing natively in Android 16. So they're kind of prepping us, giving us a little taste of what's coming up in Android 16. Another thing that I kind of like is the do not disturb. It's kind of been changed. Now we have modes. And as I indicated, if you are not into the beta, though, this is not going to be showing up till like in March of next year. So if you are not part of it, you're not going to see these things till March. Another thing, though, is the notifications where you can have more granular adjustments of notifications. You guys know I don't do notifications, so most of my notifications are out anyway. So I didn't even get to look at how it is and how one goes about customizing that notification. So I can't really speak to that.
I think the customization of notifications is a feature of the modes. So when you create a new mode, you can, so let's say you have a sleeping mode and then you have a working mode, right? So instead of just turning on do not disturb all the time in those situations, you'd have different modes so that when you're in, like if you're in working mode, you can say, I want to allow applications or notifications from specific applications during work mode, even though everything else is blocked. So, you know, if you have certain, you know, email apps for work, and then you can even choose which notification channels you want to allow. So you can even specifically, it's not even just app by app, but specific like notification channels you can allow or not allow during certain modes, which, you know, I'm kind of excited about. I'm hoping there's also different settings you can apply for each mode that you create. Some I saw mentioned where like you could have dark mode in a certain mode, or and other settings like that. I'm hoping that they also allow you to set your ringer mode, because one of the things that kind of annoys me on Pixel phones is that there's no quick settings toggle for just like sometimes I just want to turn on vibrate and or silent or ring mode without having to like bring up the volume panel and mess with that, because Samsung lets you do it from the quick settings panel. So if it also lets you customize those settings for each mode, then you could technically just create your own mode for vibrate or silent or ring, and then just change to that mode from the quick settings panel, which would be nice.
Another good thing is that also you could do these modes or change these modes right there on the lock screen without needing to go into DND or, you know, the former DND and all of that. So I think they're on the right path here, John, and I'm looking forward to it. And it's a good thing to have this type of choices and what Google is doing. I think Android 16 may be some good thing coming down the road.
Yeah, and speaking of Android 16, I'm assuming, obviously they haven't announced anything, but I'm assuming we won't have a QPR3 this year because there's talk of Android 16 actually being released in like late spring, early summer. So it might be that this time around QPR2 is the last QPR2. Just a guess on my part. Like I said, they haven't officially said anything about it.
Yeah, I think it might be. And like I was guessing, we probably will see the first developer of Android 16 in December. Who knows? So, if they're going to wait till January, whatever. But if it's going to be pushed back to like somewhere in June, like they said, June 3rd or whatever, that was a tentative date that was said, then definitely if they're going to have a few betas, like, 4 betas, then you have to start that developer preview like in December or something. We'll see what happens. Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight. We turn our attention now to the Spotlight, and today we're talking about TalkBack 15.1. It's something that was rolled out sometime last week, or was it this week? I think it was this week that it was rolled out. And so if you have it, it's something that will be rolling out in stages. It's not like all of us getting it at the same time. You know how these things are. I noticed that I got it. John, did you get it?
I did get it.
You
I'm
sure
curious to hear if Green or Sala got it yet.
No,
Yeah.
not yet.
This time you didn't
Me
get
too.
Sally, you didn't
No.
get it. What happened?
I
I
don't
think
know.
maybe because last time,
I guess you
Carrie,
can only get lucky once, right? That's what they
Exactly.
say.
Yeah,
because last
last
time
time I was one of the first to get
Exactly.
it, but
I think Karen was like the first one to get it in that area. Your lucky star was shining that day, Karen, and now for some reason you didn't get it.
Yeah, but to be honest, I'm not. I'm not feeling that I'm missing something, because actually I was so excited with the 15.0 version, and I was so much excited to test the detailed image descriptions. So I was so happy to get it in the first batch. Right now, it's okay for me. I don't mind waiting. So it's good that Google put me in the first lucky ones last version, and this time not, because this was the version that I was really curious to test, and right now I'm okay. I don't mind waiting for a week.
I think there were some few things that were changed in this 15.1. John, you remember some of these things? You're going to be bringing us the TalkBack highlights, later on. But I think there were a few changes that were made.
we
in
can
this,
go
version.
through the article that we wrote, I guess. So
Oh, we have an
those are the
article.
things. Yeah,
Okay.
extended reading controls is the highlight that we have. Buttons, checkboxes, edit fields, focusable items, heading 1 up to 6, images and videos, lists and list items, tables, combo boxes, wizarded links. I think this is pretty cool for those
Yeah.
who want to go through the web. I think this is a much anticipated thing that we needed for TalkBack.
Yeah, so in other words, we have most of the commands that one would find, say, using a regular screen reader on your computer. So it's
Yeah.
nice to see us, in this playing field.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you could do this stuff with a keyboard before, but it's nice to be able to have the option to add what you want to your reading controls, because before it was just all you had was landmarks, headings, and
controls were
controls.
all about buttons, checkboxes, and things
Yeah,
like this. It
everything. They
wasn't
were
really
all in
intuitive.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I still use I'll still use controls in certain situations, but it's also very nice to, like, if I know I
Yeah.
want a button, I want to go directly to the button. It saves so much time.
I think that's a nice move, a nice shift, because prior till now, like you said, one has to use that controls, and now if you don't want to use the controls, you have this. So I think that's in line with the other screen readers that we have out there, and it's a nice move.
Absolutely.
In fact, it's better because G-Show doesn't have this
Yeah.
this level of customization, because visited links, for example, is not present in G-Show. Heading level 1, 2, 3, we only have headings. So this is more granular in TalkBack, so it's better. Yeah, we should say things when Google does something right. We should say it. So yeah, they did it right. But I have a question. Because I couldn't test the version. So if you don't have the we don't have buttons in the page. When we move between reading controls, are we going to have buttons? I'm just asking as an example, but buttons as an example.
Yeah, it will still be in your reading controls. As long as you're in a web view, it will show up in your reading controls, and you'll still be able to change to it. But then when you swipe up or down, it'll say no previous button or no next button.
So it's now like doing like G-Show. So you have those things only when you are in web views, and if you are in a standard interface, you won't see them.
Right.
Well, coming from Karen, this is actually something good, because you usually but yeah, so I think they got it right this time, because most especially you're filling out forms or you're filling out whatever, and you want to switch to those check boxes or edit fields and all of that. I think it's nice to be able to have that capability, and finally to see that happen. I think it's a good thing. I haven't been playing with it much, to be honest, so I can't speak much to it, but I will be playing with it to see what I find out there and how I like it. But again, one has to add those to it, right? You have to choose whether you want those or not, or if you just want to go with the good old controls, right?
Yeah.
Right. You have to go add them if you want them. Just TalkBack settings, then customize menus and reading controls, and just check the box next to each new control that you want to add. And again, they'll only show up when you're in a web view.
Then we have the links, which we're going to talk about in the next segment. Improvements to opening links. That's going to come off.
Yeah, what this is your so the old way of activating links is no longer there. You would bring up the TalkBack menu and you'd find links, and then there'd be a list of all the links that are in the current item that TalkBack's focus was on. Now you can't get to it that way, but you just have to go to the actions menu. So you can bring up the TalkBack menu, go to actions, and then at the bottom of the actions list will be, in addition to any actions that the item has, will be any links that are detected within that item. Of course, any way you can access actions will also work. So if you just want to swipe up or down to get to the links, you can, which is actually a much faster way of doing it than the old way of bringing up the TalkBack menu. So I do like this change. And another thing they've improved is that if an item in focus has a link and it doesn't have a double tap, like for example, in messages, like when you double tap on a message, it doesn't do anything. So if it doesn't have an action already, then if you double tap on it and it has a link, it'll just take you to the link because it knows you want to go to that link. If there's multiple links in the message, it will bring up a list of all the links, and then you can select. So there's two new ways of doing links, and the old way of doing links is gone now.
Yeah, it's gone for the better, because I like this one better, definitely.
It is good. And I think there's also an improved or expanded, I should say, of the search. Like if you want to search for something, I don't remember the exact wording of it, but you search for items, for example, when you go to that search for something, it's been expanded as well.
Yeah, another new feature they added is
Yeah.
you can put search term, or you have a reading control now for screen
Screen
search.
search.
So yeah, if you add, you can also, like we mentioned before, you have to go add it. But once you add it to your reading controls, then any current term you're searching for, you can just, if you switch to that reading control, you can swipe up or down to go to the next term. I've only tried it on web pages, so it works on web pages. I'm not sure if it works in regular apps or not. My assumption is, and this is just an assumption, is that if it's on screen, it will find it, but it's not going to scroll the page for you and find it. But I could be wrong there.
Yeah.
I think that it could be different. Again, I'm just assuming. Actually, it could be like if you are focusing the list items, I mean, and you do and you perform the screen search. I think it could scroll and give you results when you do the next search thing or previous. But if you are focusing, for example, the buttons, for example, if you are in Telegram and you are focusing the more options button, it won't do this scrolling because it won't be on the actual list items that it could scroll. So it's just an assumption, but yeah, we should test it actually.
Okay, I hope you're right, because I did try it at Telegram, but I do not remember where my focus was. So it's possible that I was not in the list focus area. So yeah, it would be nice in Telegram if it worked.
I think that the whole idea here is probably, like you said earlier on, especially web pages, and maybe if one is working in a document, this is going to come in very handy because you have a large document and you want to find similar terms or whatever. It will make it easier than the old method.
Should I just try it right now? See what happens?
Yeah, why not?
Right.
Let's give it a try, and if it blows up in our faces, then we know what to expect. So go ahead, find something that maybe has some keyword that you would like to be looking for.
Jerry Jitta. I think the Watch 7 series is pretty reply Devaj Diani. Devaj Diani. I experimented with Google.
All right, so what's something I should search for in our group?
It isn't the speed of the voice I want. It is responsiveness. I can't
Let's search for
punctuation, verbosity. Jerry Jitta.
Your name, maybe, John?
Okay.
Screen search.
yeah. Let's search for John. Good idea,
Let
Carrie.
me.
Speech rate.
So the speech rate.
Speech rate 82%. Speech
Yeah,
rate
that's good.
68%.
Can you hear it all right, or should I raise it?
You can turn it up a little bit, but I mean
Okay.
the speed is good.
I experimented with Google TTS when I
Nice.
first took the
Okay.
Nice.
All right, so I'm here in Telegram.
Jerry Jitta. Devaj Diani. Certainly. Punctuation.
I'm going to go to
Verbosity. Speech rate. Screen search.
screen search, and
There we
I'm
go.
going to search
Search
for my
for your
name.
name. Yeah.
Find John.
No matches on this screen.
Okay, now I'm going to swipe up.
No previous result on this page. Jerry Jitta.
Um,
It is Jerry Jitta.
Yeah, so it
the
seems
problem
it
is-
doesn't
Jerry
work
Jitta.
in Telegram.
Punctuation.
Telegram's a little bit wonky.
Let me see.
Verbosity. Speech rate. Screen search.
Try next
Try again.
result. Maybe it's in reverse or something.
Jerry Jitta.
Oh,
It is
okay,
this
good idea.
Punctuation. Verbosity.
The problem is I have to change the reading control because when I put the focus back on, it switches to actions.
Speech rate.
Okay, so
Screen search.
back on screen search.
No next result on this page.
Yeah, it's not doing next either.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I'm
it
thinking
probably, if it
probably
does work
doesn't
in apps, it probably depends on
on the app.
the app. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I know for sure it works on web pages.
it's just not something that works in Telegram like we've indicated earlier. It may be app to app. This behavior is no stranger to what we see over the period. Sometimes certain things work in certain apps, and in other apps it just is a no-go. So I think Telegram is very notorious for not working right a lot of times.
It's not Telegram that we should blame here, because actually it's how the feature works, how TalkBack works, in fact. So here, it's if it allows for automatic scrolling, actually, when you are using Telegram, you can't scroll. So, but TalkBack is not doing this scrolling thing when doing the search. So I think the one that we should blame is TalkBack.
Yeah, I think it would either have to be on a website or in an app that uses a web view to work. That's my guess.
Yeah, so definitely we can see it's not working in Telegram unless there's something we're not doing right. But I'm sure John is there on the screen somewhere, So why it wasn't finding it is just kind of an oddity.
In addition to the new features, they actually added some bug fixes, and I'll actually demonstrate one of them here.
Nova Launcher. Home. Out of list. Remind.
So they've fixed the description to let you still do manual icon description or text description when you do a Gemini description. And I have, let's see if this app is.
Remind. Button.
Yeah, so I have an announcement here in an app, and I'm just going to do a image description on it
Button.
because all it says is button, right?
Yeah.
Detected image. This is a screenshot of a Facebook event post. The post is calling for volunteers for two different events. The first asks for volunteers to wrap gifts at the Angel Gift Shop on November 25th and 26th. Volunteers are asked to bring a roll of wrapping paper and meet Ms. Nancy at the church side after morning drop-off. The second asks for volunteers to dress as angels at the Angel Gift Shop on December 3 to 6. The times are 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Volunteers are asked to sign up via the link below. The post ends with a thank you. There is a share button and page number in the bottom right corner of the screen.
So of course this is Gemini being Gemini and summarizing things, right? So if all you wanted was the text, now what you do is after this pop-up appears, you just swipe right.
Text in image. We are looking for volunteers on November 25th and 26th to help wrap gifts for our Angel Gift Shop. Please bring one roll of wrapping paper and meet Ms. Nancy on the church side after morning drop-off. We are also looking for volunteers to dress as our angels during the gift shop, December 3 to 6 from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Please sign up via the link below. Thank you. 1 of 1.
And it will say text in image followed by the exact text that was detected using OCR in the image. So you no longer have to trust Gemini to get it right or worry about whether it's summarizing it or not. And again, like I mentioned, also if it detects an icon, it will also give you the icon detection result.
This is really good. I like the summarization, but if you want more details, I mean, like when you swipe right, it gives you more details and, all of that. So this is really nice. I like the feature. This is a well done job, in my, of course, never to be humble opinion. So I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that was my biggest disappointment. I liked the Gemini descriptions itself, but I did not like that it basically broke, being able to manually OCR something. So I'm glad it's back. Another thing they fixed that I was very happy about is now when you hide the screen, everything is actually hidden. Before, anything TalkBack related, like a TalkBack pop-up, would still show on your screen. So if you brought up the TalkBack menu, or if you changed granularities, or you're swiping through actions, all of that stuff showed a pop-up on your screen, even if your screen was hidden. And, with the addition of these new Gemini descriptions, that was also TalkBack pop-ups, and that would still show even if your screen was hidden. So I think it was good of them to finally make it so that it hides everything, even TalkBack related items.
Yeah, so a lot of work went into this particular version. Was there anything that stood out in the Braille department?
It's interesting you mentioned that because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think have you tried it with, you're supposed to be able to, so and earlier this year at Google I/O, they announced that TalkBack 15 was supposed to finally support HID devices over Bluetooth, and it did not make it into 15.0, and I'm pretty sure it did not make it into 15.1 because it's complete silence. Like in their official announcement about it, there was no mention of it, and I feel like if they had finally got it working, they would have said something about it. Have you tried this yet, Warren?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been fixed. It's not quite there yet. So I'm sure we'll get it, sometime before the year ends, or maybe early next year. Who knows? But
Or
you
maybe the
know,
year after, or
no, I
2
would.
years after. Yeah. I mean,
Come on, John.
they said TalkBack 15.0 and it
Well,
wasn't. So
Google coming soon, right? Coming
yeah,
soon couldn't be coming any
in
sooner.
in the coming weeks. Could be 500 weeks, but in the coming weeks.
Yeah, but frankly, I'm hoping though that would finally get resolved, and we'll see what happens. But on the whole, I think I like what is going on, especially with some of the things that you've demonstrated, and also what you'll be demonstrating in the TalkBack highlights. So it's a good start, and I think we're only getting better every day. It's like me getting better every day. So TalkBack is taking something from my playbook. And not to forget Sally. So both from Sally and I's playbook, we get better every day. And so TalkBack seems to be following in that footsteps, right, Sally?
Exactly.
So
If you
who
are
does
like TalkBack, so this will be a real problem because
No way.
I know.
I mean, come on, guys. So it's just who doesn't like something that gets better? It's like an old
No,
wine, right? You guys
I
said,
am.
old wine gets better.
Yeah, I am glad it's improving. I'm very happy about all these additions. Another thing they've fixed, while we're talking about bugs they have fixed, is the copy last spoken phrase. And what it used to do, I don't know if it was just in URLs or if it was everywhere, but specifically with URLs, there was an issue where instead of copying the actual text that was spoken, it would copy what TalkBack says. And because TalkBack only needs 2 symbols back to back to say it differently, like for example, it would say https:// instead of // right? So it would actually, if you would copy last spoken phrase, it would copy the URL, and instead of putting 2 slashes, it would put the number 2 followed by the word /, which would obviously break the link. So I don't know if it was doing this around the board or if it was only with links, but they have changed the behavior of talk copy last spoken phrase to make it work better. Now, Karine brought this up to me, and I think she's right. She said it was doing what it was supposed to. It wasn't a bug technically because it was copying what was last spoken. But I think in most cases, you probably don't want what was actually said. You want the exact text that was in the item. So I think this is an improvement here.
Yeah, definitely. That was another problem that got fixed because, the reason why it was doing that and why Karen said that was, of course, if it was reading it as 2/ and if it's going to copy it, then it has to copy exactly what was spoken. And so it was doing what was expected of it. So the problem was that TalkBack was it's not reading the slashes, back-to-back slashes, and instead it was, abbreviating them as 2 and then the word /. So definitely it will just copy what it said, but I'm glad they fixed that. So if you're copying a URL, it's going to copy it exactly as it should be. So that is good.
here I should just mention Jisho because when you use the copy last spoken item custom function, you will get the same behavior that TalkBack had before, which is I still consider it the normal thing. But the difference is that with Jisho you can disable the grouping of repeated symbols. So if you want to stop this behavior, which is like 2/ or actually Jisho starts with 3 and more. So if you want to stop this, you can just do it from the settings. Actually, TalkBack doesn't have this. So with TalkBack, you are required to hear it as TalkBack likes to say it. So from 2 and more, you will be hearing the number of symbols, then the symbol. So just I wanted to say that sometimes just a simple toggle could make a difference, which TalkBack doesn't want to understand. So everything should be toggleable in a screen reader. And unfortunately, this is not the case with TalkBack.
Yeah, I understand what you are saying. So it would be nice if we could toggle that on if you want to hear 2 slashes or 3 emojis or something like that, right? I think that's where this is all coming from. Let's say maybe someone has a smiley face, smiley face, smiley face like 5 times. I just want to hear 5 smiley faces or whatever, than hearing it like 5 times. So I totally understand what you're saying.
And now I think we should mention some bugs that I've found in the new version. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think one of the things I'm going to mention is a bug, but it is a change that I don't like. So I'm still going to bring it up just to warn people. So both of these are related to the Braille keyboard. And Warren already knows where I'm going with this because I've talked to him about it. But,
I know.
So when you're in the Braille keyboard, this is how it used to work. If you would move the cursor to the end of the field or the beginning of the field, it would read everything between where the cursor currently was and where the cursor has been moved to. So what I would do is I would type out something, and then I would move to the beginning of the field, and TalkBack would read back everything. So that was like an easy way for me to check everything I had typed before I sent the message or whatever. And now it doesn't do that. It just says beginning of field or end of field when you move the cursor. And it's kind of disappointing to me because I use that all the time.
Yeah, I could see where this could come in handy. Like you said, it gives you like a quick review of what you have. But I think that maybe the change is to reflect what other screen readers do, because whether I'm on a Fruit Braille or on my computer, for example, I go to top of file, it's just going to say top of file. It's not going to read what's in between there and the other one. And the same thing with TalkBack. Let's say you are in a text editor somewhere. When you go to beginning of field or top of page, you'll say beginning of field or end of field. So I see where they're coming from.
It is more consistent. You're saying, if you're like when you're in Gboard, just editing any text field, and you do the gesture to move to the beginning or the end of the field, it just says beginning of field or end of field. It doesn't read everything between. So it's more consistent now. But I assumed that they did this intentionally, because when you're in the Braille keyboard, you can't review your text like you can when you're using Gboard. You could just touch the text field again and have it read to you. But when you're in the Braille keyboard now, there's really no way to do it, except the new way I've been doing it is selecting all, because it will say select all and then read everything. But that's very dangerous, because if you tap the screen accidentally or swipe accidentally, everything's gone. Like it deletes it all. So if you're going to use that method, you have to be very careful.
Yeah, so in this case, though, I can see where it would be nice to have a better way of reviewing what I have typed, just like you indicated. If I were using Gboard and I'm in an active edit field and I'm at the beginning of the field or at the end of the field, I could easily review what's going on there. So the previous method that we had with the Braille keyboard, where moving to the beginning reads what is there in between that beginning and where the cursor ends. I think it would be nice to implement a way of reviewing text there without the fear of messing things up.
Yeah, and then the other thing related to the Braille keyboard, and this definitely is a bug that I've discovered, is that if you're typing, I know you don't use contracted Braille. I think you just type in uncontracted Braille.
Yeah.
But I type in contracted Braille, and what's happening is if I don't complete a word by putting a space, so like I type out a word, when you're typing in contracted Braille, it doesn't actually put the word in the field until you're done typing the word, because it doesn't know what word until you're finished with the word, right?
That's right.
So what you have to do is put a space after a word before you move the cursor to the beginning or the end of the field, or it will take the word with it. So like if I type "this is a test" and I don't put a space after test or a space after the period, then when I move the cursor to the beginning of the field, it will then say test, this is a. So it will take the word
test.
Yeah, it will put the word where you've moved the cursor to rather than where the cursor was. So that's a very bad, annoying bug. I mean, I just have to remember to put a space now, but yeah, I'd have to constantly think about it to not have it happen to me again. So hopefully this is something they'll have ironed out by the next version.
Yeah, this is definitely a bad bug that needs attention like yesterday. So this only started happening with 15.1 then, John? Or was it there even in 15 or prior?
Just in 15.1.
Okay.
It just started happening to me.
Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week. Let's move on to our next segment, and this is the App of the Week. And this week I'm demonstrating an app called Startpage. Here is Startpage. Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast and for episode 206, App of the Week. This is demonstrating Startpage, Startpage. Startpage is both a browser and a search engine. For today's demonstration, I'll be utilizing my Galaxy S23 Plus running Android 14 and TalkBack 14.x. I am now on the play page of Startpage and will navigate to the About so we can hear the description and the history of the app. Afterwards, though, I'll take you through the tour of Startpage. Let's now navigate to the About and hear the description of the app.
About this app. Heading: Google Play Store. Startpage. Details. Start here, stay private. Rocket into the future of online privacy with the Startpage private browser app. This free app is the easiest way to search with Startpage on your mobile device. With Startpage as your built-in default search engine, you're assured that every search is protected. Trusted by millions worldwide, Startpage ensures your privacy by deleting all personal data and IP addresses with each search every single time. Key features: default private search. Startpage's private search engine provides users with detailed knowledge panels, instant answers, localized maps, and comprehensive image, video, and news search results, all without tracking or storing any search history. Clear all tabs and browsing history. Prevent privacy risks and cover your tracks with Zap by closing all open tabs and clearing browsing history with one button. Private browsing. Startpage's anonymous view feature lets you visit websites anonymously from your search results. Confidently browse in total privacy. Your location, IP address, DNS masked. Private tabs, securely open and manage multiple private tabs. Private maps, explore local results without revealing your actual location. Unprofiled search results, experience search without biases. Startpage delivers unprofiled results, ensuring a fair and impartial exploration of the web. Avoid targeted ads. Startpage prevents targeted search ads and invasive third-party retargeting ads. Strict European privacy standards. Trust in privacy that adheres to the highest European standards. Startpage prioritizes your data protection in line with rigorous GDPR privacy regulations. Take control of your online privacy today. Startpage has been trusted since 2006 by millions of users worldwide to protect privacy and provide best-in-class search results. Download the Startpage private browsing app for free and redefine your private search and browsing experience. App info. Version 129.0.6668.54.23. Updated on September 18, 2024. Downloads: 50,000 plus downloads. Download size: 65.66 megabytes. Required OS: Android 8.0 and up. Offered by Startpage. Released on July 18, 2024.
And that's both the description and the history of the app. It does say it's updated on September 24th. However, looking around, it says November 11th. So I don't know what's going on. But that's the description and the history. I'll now navigate back, though, to the installation page and tap on that famous install and take the tour from here.
Play Store. About this. Install. Button. Pending. Navigate up. Button out of list. Startpage. 3%.
I believe it's finished installation and will now tap on Open.
Open. Button. Start page. Out of list.
We're now on the tutorial page and putting my finger down.
Page. Private search, endless exploration. Protect your online activity with Start page.
And at the bottom across the screen is
Get started. Button in horizontal pager. Page. Set Start page as your default browser. No search tracking, no profiling, no personal data stored. Page 2 of 4.
And on this page, we have 3 buttons. We have the back on the top left corner, and to the right, we have the skip button. And at the very bottom on the left, we have the set as default. I'm going to tap on the skip. In other words, I'm skipping making it my default browser.
Skip. Button. Page. Allow Start page notifications. Manage downloads and stay informed about updates and new privacy protection features. Page 3 of 4.
Again, we got 2 buttons at the top. We got back on the left and then skip on the right. And at the bottom is the allow. In other words, if you want to get notifications, and you guys know me for being notorious for not liking notifications. And so I'll tap on the skip on the top right corner.
Skip. Button. Page. You're all set. Privacy and peace of mind await. Page 4 of 4.
This is the last page of the tutorial, and at the bottom we have across the screen
Start exploring. Button.
There we go. We tap.
Start page. Search or enter address. Edit box out of grid pager.
We're now in the menu eye of the app, and we're settled on the edit field that is found near the top. That's all that we have there, and to the right of it, we've got a couple buttons. We got
Switch or close tabs. Button.
And the top right.
Customize and control Start page. Button.
And here is the customization button. I'll tap here and go through and see what we have.
Pop-up window. Forward. Button disabled in list.
We're on this page, and the first thing we landed on is the forward disabled. Of course, I haven't navigated to any pages, so by default, this is disabled. This is a button, and there are 4 additional buttons to the right of it. And now going from this button to the right, we've got
Bookmark. Button. Download. Button disabled. Page info. Button.
And the last one,
Refresh. Button.
that's the refresh button. Below this, we have the following items.
New tab. New private tab. New window. History. Delete browsing data. Downloads. Bookmarks. Recent tabs. Settings. Help and feedback.
And that's the last item. Let's go into the settings though, because I believe here is where the customization takes place.
Settings. Settings. Navigate up. Button out of list.
We're now in the settings, and I'll go through the items, and if there are any items that I think are of importance, I'll go into it, or else I'll simply be going through, and you can go through this during your leisure time. Here's what we got in the settings page.
Basics. Heading 1 of 14. Password manager. 2. Payment methods. 3. Addresses and more. 4. Privacy and security. 5 of 14.
I think we should take a quick look at the privacy and security, because this is all about security and privacy. We should go into here and look at what it has to offer.
Privacy and security. Navigate up. Button out of list.
I'll just go through the items that we find here in the privacy and security.
Privacy. Heading 1 of 10 in list 10 items. Delete browsing data. Delete history cookies, site data, cache. 2 of 10. Third-party cookies. Third-party cookies are blocked in private tabs. 3 of 10. Send a do not track request. Off. 4 of 10. Lock private tabs when you leave Start page. Use screen lock to see open private tabs. Off. Switch 5 of 10. Security. Heading 6 of 10. Safe browsing. Standard protection is on. 7 of 10.
In other words, if that's all you want, you leave it at this, or else you could tap on here and go choose the one you prefer.
Always use secure connections. Use HTTPS whenever possible and get warned before loading sites that don't support it. Off. Switch 8 of 10.
Totally up to you.
Use secure DNS. Automatic. 9 of 10.
And
Access payment methods. Allow sites to check if you have payment methods saved. On. Switch 10 of 10.
And that's the last one. I'll now go back.
Settings. Privacy and security. 5 of 14 in list 14 items.
Moving on.
Notifications. 6 of 14. Theme. 7 of 14. Advanced. Heading 8 of 14. Homepage. Off. 9 of 14. Accessibility. 10 of 14.
Let's go ahead though and jump into accessibility and see what we got.
Accessibility. Navigate up. Button out of list.
In accessibility, we have the following.
Text scaling. 100%. Drag the slider until you can read this comfortably. Text should look at least this big after double tapping on a paragraph. 1 of 5. Text scaling set to 100%. Seek bar slider. Force enable zoom. Override a website's request to prevent zooming in. Off. Switch 2 of 5. Simplified view for web pages. Get notified when an article can be shown in simplified view. Off. Switch 3 of 5. Captions. 4 of 5.
And
Image descriptions. 5 of 5.
that's the last one. Let's go back.
Settings. Accessibility. 10 of 14 in list 14 items.
Moving on.
Site settings. 11 of 14. Languages. 12 of 14. Downloads. 13 of 14. About Startpage. 14 of 14.
And that's the last item here in the settings. And that has been a quick tour of the start page. I hope you go into it and look at what it has to offer. What I do like about it, however, is the fact that when you open up web pages, it is not cluttered if you just customize it the way you want, and things are not getting refreshed as you'll get on other web browsers. That's one of the things I like about Startpage. I hope you like it and that you'll give it a try. Thanks for listening. And that's that little demonstration there of Startpage. I really like the app. Nice clean UI, and probably that's what kind of draws me to it. But if you have another choice, this is another choice, because on Android it's all about choices. I guess it should be everywhere that we have these choices. But if you don't like your browser, it doesn't hurt to try Startpage. You may like it. It all depends on how you want things laid out, and it's nice to have another choice.
I already know the answer, but are you going to start using this as your default browser now?
Well, so there are certain items that I would rather use it for example. So I have, Beta open with. So there are certain pages that I would like to use it with. So I use Beta open with and then pick on Startpage for those web pages. And then there are certain web pages that I just let Chrome handles, So it's kind of convoluted, but I want to be able to see the changes, but I like the way it presents web pages.
So do you know, I noticed that you had two options. You could open a new tab or open a new private tab. Do you know what the difference between those are? Because wasn't the whole thing, the whole point of the app was that it's private? Like, what's the difference between a regular tab and a private tab? Is it like the amount of cookies that it allows or something like that?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I didn't, look into that, to be honest. But if you go into that menu and if you want everything to be, totally private or whatever, you could set it to do that. So I think open the new tab, if you've set it in the settings for everything to be private, it'll still be private. I don't know why the wording happens to be like that. It's kind of a little bit confusing, would say.
Yeah, because you might not want
everything.
Like cookies do help
Yeah.
in some situations. So you might, especially if you're using it as your default browser, you might still want to be able to open things
Certain
in a
things that
regular
come through.
tab, and then yeah,
Yeah,
so
that
it's
makes
good they
sense.
still allow you to.
Yeah. And now, for the faithfuls, this is a native Android screen reader segment, simply referred to as TalkBack Highlights. This is where some new feature or new happening with TalkBack is featured. And now, here's your newest TalkBack highlight. Well, let's close today's episode with what we were talking about earlier on. And again, we're talking about the TalkBack highlights. And this week, John shows us how to use the links or how to activate links.
Hello, welcome to the next installment of TalkBack Highlights. Today I'm going to show you how to activate links in TalkBack 15.1. The old way of activating links is no longer available, so I'm going to show you the new way. There's no setting you have to turn on to get this functionality, and there's no setting you can turn off to go back to the old functionality. You'll just have to adapt, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm here in Telegram, and I'm going to put a message in focus.
Check out this demo of 11 Labs Reader. You can grab it from the Play Store. Here, sent at 10 a.m. Scene. Window saved messages.
And this message has embedded links in it. One link will take you to the demo on YouTube, and another link will take you to the Play Store listing. And the way you would normally activate these links is you'd bring up the TalkBack menu.
TalkBack menu. Actions.
And you'd go to links, but you'll notice there's not going to be a links item in the TalkBack menu anymore. And why that is because the links have been moved to the actions menu. So I'm just going to double tap on actions.
Actions. Message options.
And the first item in here is message options because the Telegram message has one action called message options. So if the item in focus has actions, those actions will be first in the list, and then after all the actions in the list will be any links. So if I swipe right,
this demo.
That's the next item in the list.
Here.
And here, I think I said you can get the app here, so this is the link to the Play Store. So if you double tap here.
Open link. Do you want to open https://play.google.com/store/apps/details? It equals IO11 Labs Reader app. Disabled.
So this will take you to the Play Store. I'm not going to do that, however. I'm going to switch to WhatsApp to show you something.
One UI Home. WhatsApp. Editing. Message. Edit box.
So here I am in WhatsApp, and I've sent the same message here, but instead of having embedded links, it's all text.
Check out this demo of 11 Labs Reader. https://youtube.be/pichuekug. You can grab it from the Play Store here. https://play.google.com/store/apps/details. It equals IO11 Labs Reader app. 9:46 a.m. Delivered.
Now that links are within actions, any way that you could previously get to actions, you can now get to links, whether it be a voice command, the TalkBack menu, if you have an actions gesture assigned, or obviously, the easy way is to just swipe up or down. So when I have this message in focus, if I swipe down,
https://youtube.be/pichuekug.
And if I double tap there, it will take me to the YouTube demonstration. If I swipe down again,
https://play.google.com/store/app/details. It equals IO11 Labs, Reader app.
That will take me to the Play Store listing if I double tap. And if I swipe down again, it'll just take me back to Activate.
Activate.
And the last way I'm going to show you to activate these links is just by double tapping. So if you have an item in focus that has a link in it, then double tapping will take you to that link. And if it has multiple links in it, it will open the Actions menu for you so you can select a link. So if I double tap here,
Actions. https://youtube.be/pichuekug.
it's just brought up the Actions menu with the list of links. So I can select links from here if I want to. I will point out that anything that is detected as a link will show up, so it doesn't have to technically be an embedded link like I showed you in Telegram. It could be a URL like I showed you here in WhatsApp. It could be a phone number. It could be a date. It could be an address. Anything that the app recognizes as something that should be clickable will most likely show up in your actions list. So if this message had an address, for example, I could just swipe down, the address would show up, and I could double tap there, and it would take me to Google Maps and show me that address there. If there was a phone number, it would give me that number in the actions list, and I could double tap there, and it would take me to the dialer. That sort of thing. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you enjoy this new way of activating links in TalkBack as of TalkBack 15.1. Thanks for listening.
All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. Before we close out of here, though, let's John give us some way of how you get a hold of us in the event that you want to get a hold of us. Here's John now to tell you how to get a hold of us.
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to blindandroidusers+subscribe@groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Thank you so much, John, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. From me, it's goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.